In a small village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a young man named Ravi. He was a carpenter by trade, known for crafting beautiful furniture that the villagers admired. Despite his talent, Ravi struggled with self-doubt. Every time he made a mistake, he would become discouraged, thinking he wasn't good enough. He felt that no matter how hard he worked, he would never reach the success of the more prosperous villagers. Ravi's small workshop was filled with the scent of wood and the sound of tools at work, but it was also filled with negative thoughts. He often compared himself to others, believing he would never be able to make it big like the wealthier villagers. His furniture was good, but Ravi could never see it that way. He focused on his imperfections and felt that his hard work was always falling short. One morning, as Ravi walked to his workshop, he passed an old man sitting under a large tree in the village square. The old man, Mr. Singh, was well known for his wisdom and calm demeanor. People often sought his advice, and Ravi, feeling a little down that day, decided to stop and talk to him. "Good morning, Mr. Singh," Ravi said, forcing a smile. "Good morning, my young friend," Mr. Singh replied warmly, his eyes twinkling. "You seem troubled. What's on your mind?" "I don't know if I can keep going," Ravi admitted. "No matter how hard I try, I just can't seem to succeed. I look at other people's work, and I feel like mine will never be enough. I don't know if I'll ever be able to make a living like the rich villagers." Mr. Singh listened patiently, nodding thoughtfully as Ravi spoke. After a moment, he looked at Ravi with a kind smile and said, "Let me tell you a story, my friend." Ravi sat down beside the old man, eager to hear the tale. "Once upon a time," Mr. Singh began, "there was a small seed that was planted in the soil. The seed was tiny and fragile, and it could barely see the sunlight through the thick soil. Every day, the seed would look up at the tall, strong trees around it, and it felt small and insignificant. It thought, 'I will never grow as tall or as strong as these trees. I will never amount to anything.' But," Mr. Singh continued, "the seed didn't give up. Every day, it pushed its tiny roots deeper into the earth, and it stretched its stem toward the sunlight. It faced storms, strong winds, and even drought, but it kept growing. Over time, the little seed grew into a sturdy plant, and with each passing season, it grew taller and stronger. One day, the plant finally became a tree, a beautiful, towering tree. It wasn't as tall as the other trees around it, but it was unique in its own way. It had its own strength, its own beauty, and it had learned to thrive despite the challenges it had faced." Mr. Singh looked at Ravi and said, "You see, my friend, just like that little seed, you may feel small or unimportant right now, but that doesn't mean you can't grow and succeed. The key is to keep going, even when things are hard. Believe in yourself and your abilities, and you will slowly but surely start to see the results of your efforts." Ravi sat quietly, thinking about the story. It was a simple tale, but it carried a deep message. He realized that he had been focusing too much on his failures and comparing himself to others. He had been like that little seed, unsure of his potential, but he had never given himself the chance to grow. "Thank you, Mr. Singh," Ravi said after a long pause. "I think I understand now. I've been too focused on what I don't have, instead of believing in what I can achieve. I'll try to change the way I think." Mr. Singh smiled. "Remember, positive thinking is like sunlight for your soul. It helps you grow. Negative thoughts, on the other hand, are like shadows that keep you from seeing your true potential. Every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to your goals. Keep growing, and don't be afraid to stretch toward the light." From that day on, Ravi made a conscious effort to change his thinking. He stopped dwelling on his mistakes and began to focus on what he could do better. When things didn't go as planned, he reminded himself that setbacks were part of the learning process. He began to believe in himself, even when others doubted him, and slowly, his work improved. As time passed, Ravi's reputation as a skilled and thoughtful carpenter grew. His furniture, once humble, was now sought after by the villagers and beyond. People admired not only the quality of his work but also the positive energy he radiated. He had transformed, not because he suddenly became perfect, but because he learned to believe in himself and keep moving forward, one step at a time. The powerful lesson Ravi learned was simple but profound: the way you think shapes your reality. Positive thinking doesn't mean everything will be easy, but it helps you face challenges with courage and determination. When you believe in yourself, you can achieve far more than you ever thought possible. Like the little seed that grew into a strong tree, Ravi learned that with patience, persistence, and the right mindset, anything is possible.